Good morning. February 13th, Monday morning. Man, it's good to be back home again. We had a short trip to Florida for the Tampa race. Great weekend. We was able to skirt some rain that looked like it was going to be a mutter, but it turned into actually the track being excellent. So this is going to be day 12 of turning the content of my book into a journey. And man, I'm loving every minute of it. The more I get on here, the more I do these, the more information that just evolves and comes out. I'm loving the process. So what are we going to talk about this week? And I'm actually going to give you an example. I was watching the Super Bowl last night, and I'm a big sports fan, and I actually wasn't a fan of Kansas City or Philadelphia, but I love championship quality competitions and contests. It's just awesome to watch people play at their very, very best. And it was a great game last night, man. Went down to like the last 2 minutes, was super pumped. I thought it was a great game to watch. There was plenty of offense. I like it when it's going back and forth, and you just creates a heightened level of uncertainty. I just love that. So, but anyways, so day 12, what are we going to talk about this week? And that is, the Philadelphia Eagles, the head coach. He's only been a head coach for 2 years. Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, never been to a Super Bowl. Actually has a unique journey himself. He got benched in a national championship game in college, and it's crazy that he's went on this early in his career at a professional level to be in the Super Bowl. But then you got on the other side, Kansas City, you got Patrick Mahomes. He's already won a Super Bowl, been to another Super Bowl. You've got Andy Reid, won a few Super Bowls. So the key here is that I think people overlook, and this comes down to why should we work really hard to create a greater effect with our strategy, resources, ability? Why is that important? I think there's a factor that people overlook all the time, and that is for Jalen Hurts and the coach. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't want to get it wrong, but the coach for Philadelphia. It had to be a bigger deal for them than it was the Kansas City Chiefs. Not that it wasn't a big deal for the Kansas City Chiefs, but they've been there, done that, And once you've done that in that context, it's a different deal, It's going to be hard for people. It's their first time in a championship game for it not to be a big deal. And when it is a big, big or bigger deal, a lot of times I think it's a much tougher mountain to climb. And it's almost like we have to go through this desensitizing process. And as we do that, man, it releases the resistance. It unlocks our ability to perform at a higher level a lot easier. And I'm not saying that Philadelphia didn't have a chance last night. I'm just saying on average, if you take two teams are in a championship, a world championship, and one of them's been there, aka Tom Brady. It happened for them a bunch. They ended up matching up with teams that had players and coaches on it that hadn't been there. Maybe it was their first time being there, and they were fortunate that they lined up against those teams, or maybe they were lining up against a team that didn't have as many Super Bowl titles as they had, hadn't been there at the level that they had been, and they had an advantage. Not that they couldn't be beat. It's just it swings the favor. It swings the momentum, I believe, in that other team's favor. Now, last night went down to the end. I think there's a good reason for that. I think on paper you can make an argument that Philadelphia definitely had more powerful performances throughout the year. So I think on paper they're probably actually better by the numbers overall for the season. So I think that kind of helped weigh that, even that advantage out. So it turned into be an awesome game. But I think there's a lesson to be learned here that a lot of times when we're going through stuff and we've raised our level, our ability, and we've put ourselves in a great position to achieve something great, man, sometimes we have to fail at that level for it to desensitize us enough to that's not a big deal. So it removes some of the resistance. And I see it all the time. And the key deal here is you don't want to get in a position where temporary failure, turns into permanent defeat. A lot of times people will start to redefine themselves when they go through this moment. And instead of it not becoming a big deal, they go, oh, well, maybe I don't have what it takes. Or, it starts to go in the wrong direction. So I think it's very important that we realize that there is a process here. And that's the reason you want to continue to create greater and greater effects. Just like Philadelphia did all throughout the season. They had greater effects all the way throughout the season, which put them in a position where they could have very well won that game last night, even though I think they were at a bigger challenge because of the position that they were in. They hadn't been there, done that yet. So I think if they go back again, which I think they probably will, I think there's a good chance with the team that they have and the weapons that they have and how they're able to perform that they will be back. And I got a feeling the odds of them winning when they do get back will be a lot higher. So something to think about today, especially if you're working hard, you're making progress, and you've took your performance to another level, but you're yet not able to get that big win, that big overall result that you're looking for. I think, there's something to be learned here, that there's a desensitizing. And I think that's why it's important that we work to create greater and greater effects, because it does give us a greater chance, I think, to win, even though maybe we haven't, it is a bigger deal for us. We're in a position where whatever it is the new level we've reached, it is a bigger deal. So you guys have a great Monday, and I'll be back several times this week. I don't fly out till late this week, so we'll be able to jump on here and get some momentum built this week. You guys have a great Monday.